Hi, my name is Janai Lane, founder of Spirit Coach Training. I want to talk to you about one of the most important things that you can develop in your life, and that is your intuition. I would not be living the life of my dreams without activating this superpower within me. And every single one of us has it. In fact, when we incarnated with our own internal GPS, right? Because as a soul, we had a blueprint, we had a trajectory for our highest life path before we even came in. And our intuition is that guidance system. And unfortunately, in our culture, intuition has not been elevated to the status that it deserves. In fact, it's been the opposite, where it's been diminished. And so we need to elevate that intuition, and we need to trust it, and we need to activate it within us, because that's the very thing that's going to help us to navigate through the dark, right? The dark, the blinders that come down, where we go through life and we're in this hit or miss, trial and error all the time. When there is something that knows, there's a part of us that knows the highest choice. We just have to build the muscle of intuition. And unfortunately, it's atrophied. It's atrophied in ourselves and in our culture. Just like a muscle atrophies, you go to the gym, you lift weights, and at first it's really hard. And after a while, you build it up and it gets stronger and you strengthen it. And that is what is required during these times, to really strengthen our intuition, because it is the way through the darkness. It is the way through not only the darkness, but to move into the light and to navigate through, because no one can tell you your truth. No one really knows except you. And that's why it is so important to cultivate and develop your own intuition. Now, there's a couple of things that I want to share with you. And one is that many, many years ago, I think it was my early 20s, I noticed that I would get these insights, these intuitive hits, and they would only come in two places: in the shower and when I was sleeping. And I thought, well, that's odd. Why is my intuition only working there? Well, when I examined it, it became obvious. Those were the only two places where my mind was quiet. It had slowed down, or it was completely off, and I could hear my intuition. So one of the things that I'm going to recommend to you is a process that's really simple. The first step in that process is to slow down, because we can't hear with a busy mind. So anything that quiets your mind is a good thing when cultivating your intuition. The second thing I'm going to suggest is that you need to ask for guidance. You need to ask the divine that lives within you. Hey, let me hear you. Speak to me. I would like to know. And you can hold certain questions. One of the questions I held for many, many years, and I still do, is how can I serve? How can I serve? And that question has allowed multiple insights to come through my intuition to guide me and show me my life path trajectory. And it's been amazing, absolutely amazing. So what are the questions that are important? You have to ask them, because with every question is an answer. Always, always, always. There isn't a question without an answer. There is an answer somewhere that will come. And so one of the keys is asking the right questions, the aligned questions for you. And then, of course, there's listening. We have to listen, because a lot of times we don't listen We don't create the space in our lives to listen. And that means meditation. That means contemplation. That means sitting in a quiet space to really hear the answers. Sometimes we're asking, but we're not listening, right? And then, of course, the second thing after that is about trusting. We have to trust the answers that we get, right? So our mind thinks and our intuition knows. And so there's a different quality between the thinking mind and our intuition. And we have to learn to trust that knowing, that inner knowing. And that inner knowing often comes with a calm and non-attached. It's not forceful in any way. It's very calm. It feels good when it comes in, that knowing. We have to learn to trust that. And then, of course, to follow it, right? When we follow it, that's when we build the muscle. So what happens, and what I see as a coach for most people, is that they get intuitions and then they don't follow it. And then they stop trusting their intuition because you have to follow it. Now, what I would suggest, because this really, really helps, is that you keep an evidence journal. And every time you follow your intuition, you write it down, and then you write down the result. And this is very important because it gives your mind evidence. In fact, I call it an evidence journal. It gives your mind evidence to trust your intuition, that actually the mind can take a back seat to your intuition. So your intuition comes in, it gives you the guidance, the direction to go in, and then you use your mind, right, to implement. And that's what the mind has always been for. It's not the master, it's the implementer. Your intuition is the master. Your intuition is your essence, your divinity, your true self. It is that part of you that can guide you to your highest and best life experience. So thank you so much for listening, dear one, and many blessings to activate that superpower within you, your invisible gift, your intuition. Many blessings.